Good morning, everybody, and welcome into Project Joy Live. It's your triple shot of good vibes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at this 9 a.m. Eastern time hour. I am your host, Jessica Dugas, and I am still not clear. I'm not clear, guys. I went last Sunday. I had shared with you all last week that we had Marjean's graduation party, and it was outside, and it was all day. And I don't partake in the sun for a long time. Often, even when we go to the beach, I have like a little pop-up cabana type thing that I sit under because I do not do well in the sun at all, like in the heat. And so but I was feeling pretty good that day. So apparently I also got amnesia and forgot that I don't do well in the sun, but I was feeling okay. So it's like not a big deal. Then I ended up I had a V-neck shirt. Oh, you can still kind of see it a little bit. I had a V-neck shirt on. And so I had gotten a little toasted here. My nose was toasted. And then like as I've looked in the mirror this whole last week, I'm like, oh my God, I really did get some sun. I'm not clear anymore, you guys. So I was dealing with that. Let me know where you're joining from and what is bringing you joy today. Coming up on the show, we are going to talk about flow over force and the secret to creative growth. Miss Brittany Floyd is here, everybody, and we're going to be doing an exercise together. So until she comes on the screen, you can be working on getting yourself a paper and pen. Over the weekend, let's see, what did we do? I don't know if I told you guys yet, but in mid-July, I am going to see a band that I have been waiting since my childhood to go see. I grew up, I've told stories before, with very eclectic music appreciation. One, I've always loved music, and so I was in a lot of music programs in school, and obviously you learn a lot about that when you're in school, and your different teachers throughout the years, they have specific music tastes. But also my mom was big into music and listened to a lot of like 60s, 70s, 80s music. My grandparents and my great grandparents were also really into music. You couldn't walk into my granny's kitchen without hearing like Engelbert Humperdinck and, like Nat King Cole and Frank Sinatra and all of that. And so I had a really wide range of music awareness and appreciation. And one of the bands that my mom had me attached to from a really young age is the Guess Who. And I was taken back the other night when I said something about the Guess Who, and they had the nerve to say to me, "What do they sing?" And I was like, oh, "What? What do you mean?" So I know that I just love them so much. They are a Canadian band, fun fact, but they had really big popularity here, which I find really interesting because my husband is a really big fan of the Tragically Hip, which is also a Canadian band, but they didn't have as much success here in the US that they did in Canada. But the Guess Who was very different than that. And they did have a lot of success here in the United States. And one of the most popular songs that they sing that I think everybody knows is American Woman. And then later on, Lenny Kravitz redid that song. And so they also sing Laughing, These Eyes, Share the Land was a big, like, kind of hippie song during the 70s. 60s and 70s was when they were really, really big and going into the 80s. And so anyway, they're going on tour and I got tickets to see the Guess Who. So I'm really, really excited to see them in mid-July. And then we had found out that Danielle, that hosts on Fridays here with me on Project Joy, Danielle and her husband got tickets to Third Eye Blind, and I was like, that would be amazing. So my husband surprised me with tickets to Third Eye Blind. So we're going to Third Eye Blind 2 on July 3rd. Very excited about that. And you know what's funny? Third Eye Blind, we were listening to one of the albums the other day, and there's just like that and one of the earlier albums that came out, there is not a bad song on that album, like truly. And I hadn't heard all of them. They're really, really good. Even the ones that weren't on the radio or whatever, amazing. So I think it's going to be a great show. It's even though it is in the arena, it is a more intimate show. And I love kind of that they do that. So we've been to a few shows like that. We went to an intimate evening with Vanessa Williams a couple years ago, and that was just beautiful. And they kind of like, I don't know, they have the songs that they sing, but then it's also mixed with a lot of storytelling. They talk a lot about, their musical history and what the songs meant to them and why, and people that they teamed up with over the years. And so I'm hoping that this will be like that too. It does say an evening with, so sometimes that indicates that sort of show style, but yeah, it was great. So I'm looking forward to that show. Over the weekend, I also went, what did we do? I did try to rest a good bit over the weekend because y'all know what last week was like for me. But Saturday, I participated in the poetry marathon. This is put on every single year. You guys may have heard Kat Stomska talk about it on the show before. She participates in the whole 24 hours. So basically what happens is you sign up, and it's a 24-hour period. It begins at 9 a.m. Eastern time and runs until 9 a.m. Eastern time the next day. And you can sign up for the full marathon, which is 24 hours, or a half marathon, which is 12 hours. Y'all know that I did not do the 24 hours because I got to sleep. But I did want to challenge myself. So I said, okay, I'll sign up for the half marathon. Kat signed up for the full marathon, signed up for the half marathon as well. And so I was like, okay, we have a little group going. Well, this will be good. And interestingly enough, none of us really message each other a whole lot throughout the process, because if you have other things going on in addition to the poetry marathon, there's not a lot of time for chit chat anyway. But we did send a couple of messages. I'm like, woo, that was a doozy. Or like, did you put yours in for this hour yet? And what they do is every hour on the hour, they send you a prompt. And so you have a choice. There's actually two prompts. There's a written prompt that will say a specific thing, and then there is an image, and you can write a poem based on that prompt, based on the image, or you don't have to follow it at all. You could just simply write a poem in that hour. What I committed to personally was following all of the written prompts. I really wanted to stretch myself and do the instruction. I didn't want to just come up with something random. And I also feel like for a lot of poetry for me or things that I've written in the past in general, they are based on experience or imagery. So the image one, I really didn't want to do either. And then 1 out of the 12 that I did, instead of the written prompt, it was a sound. So there was 2 sounds you can choose from, one with lyrics, one without lyrics. I went with the one without lyrics. But you do a poem every hour, and it's really cool system they have on the site, because you put the poems in of your own and it gives you like the check mark, but then you can see the feed and see everybody else's submissions as well, which is really lovely. And everybody in there either considers themselves a poet, they just really enjoy poetry, maybe it's their first time, but everybody's there for the same reason. So I really felt emotionally safe through the process. This wasn't like just anybody was going to make comments on it. I did, as I went along, I posted every poem I did a screenshot to my Facebook story. And so that was me like testing it a little bit, but like being like, I know people could comment on this, but I didn't get any bad things, because even though I've always really loved poetry, I knew that I wasn't going to be like following every law of poetry out there. I like to, and Kat tells you often, I look like a bird today. So like, hello. So I like structure of certain types of poetry, but I also like to break the rules. And Kat always encourages me to do that. Like, and she's like, look, it doesn't have to be perfect, but there are those people that are like, look, there's a structure, you have to follow it. I'm just not going to be that person. I did follow my very first poem of the day was a haiku. I followed it to a T. It was nature related, 575. It visual, whatever. So, I did finish. I got my certificate. It was very exciting, and it was a really good time. I will for sure do it again next year. I had a couple poems that I read that I had commented on inside the experience, and made a couple connections that I think were really beautiful. And sometimes you may not know exactly what a poem might mean. There's maybe some symbolism or something going on there, but you still can feel a connection. And I feel like that happened in a lot of cases with me over the course of the program. So I thought it was great, had a wonderful time, and I really pushed myself. I pushed myself hard to get it done. And so then I put everything into a document, and I did share it with a couple of people that I trust to not, what's the word I'm looking for? Not grill me or whatever over my lack of structure on some of it, or the way that things are written or whatever. And because I really did, this was one thing I needed a little sugar coated, because I did really push myself and be vulnerable and all of that. So anyway, that was fun. Went yesterday to go shopping with Sky and Nina, and went to the Strawberry Festival, where I got to see my friends at Flower Patch Bakery, and also Divinely Sweet. So shout out to Nikki and Lynette. Amazing booths as always. We got there at the end, so it was slim pickings, but still a good time. And it wasn't overrun. Usually those events at the Village are really packed with people, but it was kind of lovely. And I may have to post a little video later. There was a guy singing and playing guitar. It was nice. So all of that being said, everybody, let's head over to the comments really quickly. Teresa's here this morning. Good morning and Monday blessings to you. Miss Sang said, happy Monday. I love it here, and I'm excited to get my first shot of joy for the week. By the way, you guys, yesterday I was playing Minecraft with Leah, and she found something on Minecraft, and she goes, I love it here. And then about 15 seconds later, she goes, just like Sang says. And it was just very cute out of nowhere. So thank you, Sang, for that. Claudio's here this morning. I wouldn't be able to do 100 poetry run, never mind a marathon. Listen, it was a lot. I was a little stressed at first with the poetry marathon. There was moments I was like, Sang found people in her area too. I know I saw somebody from your area too. I wonder if it's the same person, but yeah, I agree. It really had me tapping into new things that I hadn't really even considered in a while. So all of that being said, everybody, it is time. It's time to bring on the amazing, the fabulous, the wonderful Brittany Floyd. intro makes me want to get a cup of tea and put my pinky in the air because we're getting fancy.
I love it. I love it so much.
It's like it's the little, it's just fancy. It's just fancy. I love
And
it.
it's me. It's me through and through. I feel like, it's just, I love it. Thank you so much for it.
You're welcome. And good morning.
Good morning.
I feel like I never see you anymore, first of all. And so I really look forward to when you are on the show because I'm like, oh, let's catch up with all the things. And then there's only so much time in the day.
Yeah.
And this morning we had a
sorry.
What'd you say? Go ahead.
Don't go into the light this morning.
Listen, I was just gonna say we had a birthing experience before we came onto the show because you guys notice I don't have my background behind me this morning like usual. I am relocated to this area for a little while because one of the outlets in the other room stopped working. We have to have them come and take care of it, and so my computer, we had to prioritize in there. The internet is important, right? You would agree that you'd have to keep the internet on. And the other thing was my CPAP because I got to breathe, you guys. I got to breathe in the middle of the night. So that got priority over my other computer system. So now I am relocated to the living room for a little bit. So I bring my ring light in because it's darker in here. And when you first turn it on, it goes to the default setting, which for some reason felt a lot brighter in here than it ever did in the other room. And I turned it on and
I think I got blinded. It was.
And so it was, I said, that must be how babies feel when they're coming out of the womb. Truly. Like, no wonder they're crying. Bright as hell. Anyway, what's bringing you joy today, Brittany?
This morning, this is bringing me complete joy.
Great. Wonderful. I'm glad my pain is your pleasure. So good. I'm glad that you're here this morning, and we're going to be talking about flow over force. And I think sometimes it is really challenging for people, but I give a pass because we are in a society where it's push all the time, and routines from the time that we are at least at most around 5 years old, and we start going to school, and we have the bells, and we have the schedules, and we have the assignments and deadlines and calendars and all of those things. And so I think we are used to an energy of push all the time. But what's your perspective on that?
Yeah, I literally have it written in my notes here that we live in a culture that celebrates pushing harder, working harder, trying harder, doing more. But what I've realized though is that some of the most meaningful things that has happened in my life is when I stopped trying to control the outcome of it. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, I do. Let me start by saying I am a person that really appreciates, or has learned to appreciate, more structure and not necessarily force, but like determination and grit, and like, pushing through sometimes some of the most challenging things. I have learned to appreciate that more as I've gotten older, because when I was a child and we were starting in that culture of like push, and deadlines and alarms and all of those things, I wanted nothing to do with that. Nothing. You couldn't tell me that I had to be somewhere at a certain time, because I didn't like it. It felt very unnatural to me. But because I didn't lean into the skill side of that, I felt like I went into business with not really knowing how to be like scheduled and determined and all of those things. And so I've come to appreciate it, but I think I've had to relearn how to have those moments that you're talking about, to just let it be and watch the magic happen instead of trying to force the magic to happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with trusting, right?
Mm,
Trusting versus control. Because sometimes, and I know for me, speaking for me, control feels safe to
yeah.
me, because it makes me feel like I'm doing something, right?
Mm,
If I could just plan enough, think enough, prepare enough, maybe I can guarantee that outcome. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah. That
But
enough. We don't ever know the like, even everything I feel like is what I wanted to say about the you know if we could just guarantee it, like,
yeah.
and the interesting thing is, like, there are no guarantees. Like, that's such a myth or facade or a lie. It's just a straight up lie that we can
Yeah.
control anything at all.
Yeah, and creativity doesn't work well that way when you try to control it, right?
Yeah.
Some of the most beautiful things that I've created, even has when I stopped trying to control every little detail and just trust the process. I don't
Right.
know how many times that I've done a painting that I'm like, I'm starting to freak out because it's not turning out how I want it to. And I got to keep telling myself, trust the process, Brittany, trust the process. Even when I paint on live, people have seen it on over on the TikTok. I'm like, literally, it was the first time I ever painted a butterfly. And I'm so nervous, right? Because people are watching me in real life time doing this, and I've never painted a butterfly, and I'm just sitting there and I'm freaking out, and I'm telling the people I'm really freaking out, but you got to trust the process because it
Yeah.
ended up turning out completely amazing. So
Right. And I think sometimes with that too, like, we've talked about this, and not necessarily with this topic, but with others, about how as humans, we feel like we have to have all the answers. We have to be correct. We have to be right. We have to be on top of things. And it I think a lot of times we feel a pressure to perform, to say, like, when somebody says, what is this about? And we go, and then we feel like we can't just simply say, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know. And then with the situation you're talking about, I think part of that too, and I've experienced this as well, like, you present yourself as an artist, right? So
hmm,
now you're doing something in the realm of art that is new, but you're an artist, so you're supposed to have all the artist answers and the way of doing things. So then if you do it in a certain way, or you don't have the answer to it, are people going to think you're a fraud?
yeah,
Like, and so that comes up for me all the time too, especially in the realm of like live streaming or having experiences with people. Like, I don't know all the things. Some things I'm still figuring out too. And so I'm trying to get better of being like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to look that up.
yeah. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have to think about it. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to, yeah. And you're absolutely right. And I feel like pressure actually can kind of, when we, even when we put our pressure on ourselves like that, we're kind of stealing the joy away from us when
Mm,
it comes to that.
yeah.
Because I feel like pressure says, like, you need to figure it out, you need to hurry, you need to get it right. And joy is more like, let's see what happens. Like,
Mm,
so I feel like pressure tightens us where joy opens.
mm,
And I think that's why children create so freely, right?
yeah.
They aren't worried about whether it's good. They're just enjoying the experience of making something.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's even as adults, somewhere along the way, many of us have stopped creating for joy and started creating for approval.
Mm. during the poetry marathon on Saturday, there was one particular poem, and it's so funny how this worked out. I can't remember which number it was, but I had an idea going into it. I'm like, oh, I want to write like a limerick style poem that rhymes, and a limerick poem has a very specific way that the stanza is written. It's like AABBA. And so the rhyming pattern is a little strange. And so, but I was like, I got to do this kind of poem. Why? I don't know, because it wasn't in the instructions. It was just me going like, I got to do this kind of poem. And I will tell, like 40 minutes of the hour trying to rhyme words and everything else, and then finally we got to like 15 minutes left, and I'm like, I don't have a poem. I can't rhyme the words. This is horrible. Like, and I was really upset with myself, and then I'm like, who put these constraints on you, Jessica? Oh, and who said that you have to rhyme it? Oh. And I stopped trying to force myself to fit in this little box that I created. It was just a very simple, and it didn't have to rhyme.
Yeah.
It was a great poem that was fine. And then come up later, then it was an instruction to rhyme, and I was like, oh, okay. Maybe that's because I wasn't supposed to that round that I tried to force myself to do it.
Yeah, I've learned that. And the thing is I love how you committed to that marathon, the 12 hours. I couldn't even imagine. I'm with Claudio on that. I cannot even commit myself to doing 100 minutes, let alone a whole 12 hours. But I've learned that forcing isn't the same thing as commitment, right? You could be committed to something and still allow it to unfold naturally.
Yeah. And like that's the biggest thing for me is I do have a really determined spirit. And so there's times when people will look into my life, and maybe it feels like to them that I'm forcing something or pushing something, but I'm just determined and I'm moving forward. I think for me, the difference looks like during that poetry marathon, if I would have said to push the full hour, now I'm into 2 hours, now I've skipped another thing, now I just said forget it, I'm not going to do it at all. That's more like what forcing looks like to me than the commitment to go, okay, I'm going to try really hard, and then if I've got just a little bit of time left, I'm going to have to just resolve that not everything's going to work out like you think it is, Jessica, and move on to something else. And that's to me the difference. I don't think that there's anything wrong with going, hey, I've got a deadline and I'm going to do this thing. There's a difference between that and going, well, if I can't meet my deadline, screw it, I'm going to not even try anything else. Like there's a difference,
Yeah, there's definitely a difference. Yeah. And I've even noticed with myself, sometimes when when I try harder or when I force something harder, the further away it seems to get, honestly. Right. Yeah. And then it gets me way further over on the left field rather than where I need to be. And just like kind of like how you was explaining with the whole poetry, you put yourself in this, like, it's got to rhyme, it's got to do this. And and you were kind of getting further away from it. But when you stop, when we just stop for a second and check in with ourselves and be like, okay, and just allow us to flow. I think when we flow, it allows us to be more into the present moment, truly.
It does. Because sometimes when you're too like there's nothing wrong. Claudia was saying, I'm very determined. I'll leave the poetry to my mom. His mom's a professional poet. I almost hesitated to show him any of the poems I wrote because I knew that fact. Anyway. But you can be really determined, but it's like sometimes when we are really determined and we're focused and we're like we're going to get this done. We put our blinders on and we can't see anything else. And the problem with putting our blinders on, it puts us in a bubble. And then sometimes we can't even see shifts that need to be made in what we're working on. And so that makes it really tough. I know you have an activity for us, so we're going to take a super quick break. And when we go on this break, you too, Claudio, you're going to get a paper and a pen and get ready to do the activity. We'll be right back after this. Maybe.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Project Joy Live. Today is Monday, June 15th, 2026. I'm here today with Miss Brittany Floyd, and we have been talking about flow over force, the secret to creative growth. And I hope we're okay. We good? Did we have a crash? We're go around here. And so it is true when you try to, speaking about flow over force, when you try really hard to be quiet, right? Have you ever had that happen when you try really freaking hard to be quiet and you can't do anything but make a whole bunch of noise? And it's the same thing. I've been at a concert before where I've tried to be like, let out a scream because I'm excited and I'm like, like nothing comes out. What in the world? So that's what happens when you try to force things. All right. Miss Brittany has an activity for us today. Hope you have your paper and your pen. I get construction paper today because I'm sitting in the girls' school area. So.
And you're fancy. You fancy. Like.
All right.
All right. So we're going to do some exercise to just kind of, I call it the flow line. So I just want you to place the pen on the paper, and we're just going to create one continuous line. Don't stop. Don't plan. Don't correct it. Just allow your hand to move. And as you follow the line, notice how often your mind wants to take over. Notice how often you want to make it prettier, how you want to make it straighter, more perfect. Now I want you to just add some lines and curves and waves, loops, whatever feels right.
Are we lifting the pen to do that?
It doesn't matter. Whatever feels right to you. I just want you to follow what feels more interesting instead of what feels right. So, well, it's definitely interesting to say the least.
So I'm over here. Anytime this one is harder for me than other ones we've done because I'm like, what do you mean that it's what it feels like? I'm waiting for the rules.
Yeah. And that's the reflection. You could stop whenever you feel like, but I just want you to take a minute. And how did that feel to you? Was it uncomfortable? Was it freeing? Did you notice yourself wanting to control more of the outcome?
I noticed myself wanting you to tell me what to do so I could do it right.
Yeah. And I think that joy lives in flow, like I was mentioning before, not because everything is easy, but because we're fully present. We're no longer fighting the moment we're in, we're participating in it. So here's it's literally a bunch of loops and swirls and a whole bunch of things. And that's what flow looks like. When we just stop for a minute and just allow ourselves to just not be in our head so much, to just create. What if the breakthrough that you're looking for doesn't come from pushing harder, but from flowing more naturally? What if the next step isn't more effort, but more trust? Sometimes life isn't asking us to force the bloom, it's asking us to let it unfold. And the great, also, I want to say, is a great color to, if you're feeling like you are forcing yourself more than flowing, a great color for you is aqua. Aqua is, it represents the ocean, right? I feel like it just taps into that a lot. It is, let's see, it's flow, it's ease, it's trust, it's movement, it's even emotional freedom. So aqua really screams, I don't need a push, I can allow, which is the whole energy of being. It's about letting it flow more than pressure.
I was trying to see, because it's usual that when you bring up the color that I have something in the area that that is, and I do have something a little aqua. There we go.
Isn't your pen kind of aqua? Your marker?
It's green, but then when it got put on the pink paper, it looks like aqua, which is interesting too. I want to talk. The comments were some of with me, and I love it. I'm a blend of you both. The swirly dots. You have the swirly dots too, and he's lifting felt like cheating. Lifting the pen felt like cheating. And Sang said, I never lifted my pen because I was waiting too. Then when Brittany said I could, I was like, no. I know it was the same with me. I was like, I'm just going to keep going. I'm not going to overlap. But I noticed I was very similar to what I did with the poem. I was creating rules for myself because I was uncomfortable with not having structure. I started creating structure for myself. So I found that really interesting. Claudio basically created a lasagna. Love that.
Love it. Now I'm hungry.
I almost wrote with aqua, but I chose pink. And I love that. I chose the pink paper out of all the construction.
I love that.
We're connected. Yay. Any final thoughts on this topic, Brittany?
No, just pretty much what I was saying earlier. Just what you stop forcing has space to grow.
Love that. Love that. Lasagna is fitting. It's very on brand. Is it not?
Now I'm hungry.
Very good. I know. And I did. Oh my gosh. I was telling Brittany before we came on today that I've been chopping up vegetables because I'm doing a little meal prepping this morning. And so I have this huge tray of vegetables over here next to me where I've been chopping it up. And I was like, the whole idea is to chop this up for a meal and not to be snacking in the middle the middle of the show. I sure did reach over and grab me a carrot on the breaks. So me and Jessica have created the swirls for cannolis, and now we have lunch. We have lasagna and we have cannolis. It's good. It's good. All right, we're going to take one more quick break. And when we come back, we have birthdays. So if you have a birthday or know someone who does, put it in the chat, and we'll be right back after this.
I shall stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart. I shall stand for love, for the world is wounded, not just my little piece of land, where I am mostly safe, where I am mostly well, but our world, everywhere, every day. I shall stand for love, because we need more light, not more death, not more power, not more bombs. I shall stand for love, so that our children are safe, so that our friends are sheltered, so that our borders are open. I shall stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart.
Welcome back to Project Joy Live, and thank you for standing for love with us as always. I wanted to mention something really quick before we get to birthdays. I don't know if you have seen this, Brittany, but I have become absolutely invested in the story of this girl. Her name is Kelsey, and she is currently rowing from by herself in a little rowboat from California to Hawaii. And she is going to be the youngest and first American woman to have made this trip. And I don't know how I found her. I have no idea how I found her on Facebook, but I am invested in this whole story now. And if you go to You Row Kelsey, YOUROWKELSEY, You Row Kelsey. You can also go to yourowkelsey.com and follow along with her journey. But she posts a video every day about where she's at. She just hit the halfway mark yesterday. But I've had so many moments of oh my God, what's going to happen? And I could never. And her parents must be freaking out, and all of these things. And I think it was day before yesterday. She was talking about how if a boat is going slow enough, then that's when barnacles have the opportunity to latch on to the boat. So she had to get in the middle of the ocean by herself
on a rowboat.
She had to get in the water, and there would be no getting in the water, not in the middle of the ocean for me. She had to get in the water, and she had to go underneath the boat and make sure that there was no barnacles she had to scrape off, because it will slow the boat down.
Oh wow.
And the second she gets in the water, I'm like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And then a couple days ago, she usually posts, at least by dinner time ish here, and it's 9:00, and she hadn't posted yet. And I'm going in my head, I'm like, there was a shark, there was a big wave, something is wrong, and there wasn't. It was nothing. She just was late. She just was late posting, and I'm over here just having a whole fit. But please go watch her videos that she's doing. She's rowing on behalf of the Whale Foundation, and the whole process is just so fascinating. And yesterday there was a really fun thing that happened. So she has, the normal communication, the radio on her rowboat that big ships have and everything. And there was a cargo ship from China about 10 miles away from where she was. And and they radioed her because on their radar she was going really, really slow, and they thought maybe this was a boat in distress. So they messaged her, and they said, you know, hey, are you okay? And she explained who she was and what she was doing, and they were so impressed about, you know, the whole thing. And so they ended up having this 10-minute conversation in the middle of the ocean from like 10 miles away from each other. But the guy, the guy was Chinese, but he could speak English, and he was asking her like how old she was, and he's like 2 years older than her, and he's like, yeah, I was born in this year, and I'm a captain now, and all of that. And so then he said, let's trade emails because I want to know that you got to Hawaii okay. So he was invested too. And it was just this, like, I'm like, we're creating relationships in the middle of the ocean. This is the coolest thing ever.
Really cool.
Yes, you've got to. So Sang followed her on Instagram. I have to hear from her every day now. I just need to like know that she's okay. But it's a fascinating story. I'm excited about she's doing this for a cause as well. It really is a testament of, you know, mental, physical, emotional fortitude, like all of it.
Yeah, that's. And how old did you say she was?
She's 31.
Wow.
31, yeah.
I'm trying to picture what I was thinking about doing at 31, and it definitely wasn't going across the ocean in a boat.
Right? I know. She's had a couple like really poignant moments though. Like one, she had been at sea, I don't know, it was like maybe a week, a little over a week or so, and she had nothing. There was nothing. Like I would have thought, I don't know, I guess I thought in my mind that maybe she would see more wildlife than she has. I thought she would see more, but she hadn't seen anything except fish in like a week. And then all of a sudden she's in the middle of the ocean and a huge pod of dolphins came, and she showed the video. It was the most beautiful thing, and she just had this moment where she was like, I just realized how amazing it was that I'm like to connect with another mammal. Like it was just in that moment and not be out there alone. I don't know, it was just crazy. And so there was that, and then she had another day that was really hard, and she was talking about how it really is like mind over matter, you know, in certain situations you really have to talk yourself out of, you know, the stuff that's going on. So anyway, go follow her. Again, it's urokelsey.com. She's on Facebook, Instagram, all of that. And you can see where there's a map somewhere too, where you can see where she's at in the ocean, which is neat. So go check that out. And with that, it's time for birthdays. You ready, Miss Brittany?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go.
Happy birthday to you.
All right, everybody. I didn't make my huge list today. However, I do have the birthdays. I just don't have them written down. So we're going to go through it together. In the world of celebrity today, Ice Cube, rapper Ice Cube is 56 years old today. Happy birthday, Ice Cube. Also, we have, let's see, Courtney Cox, actress Courtney Cox, 61 years old today. Actor Neil Patrick Harris, Doogie Howser himself, 53 years old today. Who else do we have? We have Helen Hunt, actress Helen Hunt, 63 years old. I watched a couple weeks ago the movie What Women Want again with Helen Hunt and Mel Gibson. So funny. Such a funny movie. If you haven't seen that from a while back, go watch that. Helen Hunt. Let's see, who else do we have here? Jake Busey is 55 years old today. Jim Belushi, 72 years old today. Leah Remini is 56 years old today. Who else do we have? Jim Varney. Oh my gosh, he passed away in the year 2000, but he played Ernest in all. Remember all the Ernest movies, Brittany? Like Ernest Saves Christmas, Ernest, like all of those. He was incredible actor. So funny. All right, and that's it in celebrities. In the celebrities in my life, she had been on one of my shows way back at the beginning. Lorraine Panettiere has a birthday today. Happy birthday, Lorraine. Hope you have an amazing day. Anybody you're celebrating today, Brittany?
Yeah, I have an old high school friend who passed away. And shortly after high school, he would be 37 today. So happy heavenly birthday to him. Yeah. So.
Love that. Love that. All right. Let's get our birthday song on. Here we go. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all those that are celebrating. We hope you have an incredible day. However you want to celebrate. What do you have going on, Brittany, that you want to share with the people?
Oh, this Thursday at 1:30 Eastern, I have mindful doodling at 1:30. I did say 1:30 Eastern. Yes. We just do a guided meditation and we flow. It just helps you bring you into the present moment. So
love it. And it's short, guys. Like carve out, a little 20-30 minutes for yourself in midweek, twice a month. Brittany does that 1:30 in the artist studio in our virtual community. You can go to the breakthroughshownetwork.com or .club and see the schedule. You can reply going to the event so you'll get notifications, or just show up in the room. We would love to have you there. And it's going to be great. And the opposite Thursdays, Brittany does Craft Circle from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. Bring your own craft, whatever you're working on. Sometimes I bring digital things because that's what I'm doing, but sometimes I'll do more artsy things, and that's fun as well. So Brittany's got our craft covered.
Yeah.
All the creativity. What else? What do we have going on this week on the network? We have co-working today and Friday. Mondays are 12:55 Eastern time. Fridays are 9:55 a.m. Eastern time. And you can bring whatever work you're doing, schoolwork, housework, work, you can bring with you and have some fun with us there. We also have tomorrow night, speaking of poetry reading with Kat, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We have Project Joy Live, of course, Wednesday and Friday this week. This week, I have Margene here Wednesday, Danielle here Friday. And this is our last month, guys, before our mid-season break. So looking forward to having a little summer of having fun. And then we'll be back with you guys in the fall time. I think that's about it. Usual stuff. Go to the breakthroughshownetwork.com or .club and find all the information about your favorite shows and events. All there. Any final words for us today, Brittany? Anything you want to leave the people with?
I pretty much have said everything right. that I think that I can. Just the more that you release pressure, the easier it is to be the joy. To find it.
Be the joy, everybody. All right. Thank you so much for being with us today. Always a pleasure, Miss Brittany.
It's always fun. I love it here.
We love what you're saying. All right. Stay away from bright lights, everybody. And until next time, I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. This is Brittany Floyd. And we want to remind you to make joy a priority in your life today and every day. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.